What's up YouTube? Welcome to Cars, Cost, and Technology. Today's video is going to be somewhat of a personal topic. I haven't done one of these in a little while, but I decided to answer a question that seems to be reoccurring in the comment section on numerous videos, and that is what I do for a living. Now, the primary reason that people ask this, obviously, is they want to know what I did to be able to purchase my C6 Corvette. They want to know how I was able to purchase my C7 Corvette Stingray. You know, it's a common question, and I sort of understand why people are asking it. I personally don't think that exactly what one person does for a living is relevant, because obviously there's so many different career choices out there, so many different lucrative fields that you could go into that would allow you to purchase your dream car. I don't think that we should get hung up necessarily on what one person does, but I can understand why so many people are curious as to what I've done, so I'm going to share that information with you guys today, not in a context of bragging or showing off, but just strictly for informational purposes to answer these people that have asked in the comment section, as well as maybe pass along some motivation to anyone who's trying to buy their first Corvette or just their dream car in general, and they want to know, what's some paths that I could take or some steps that I could take that would put me in a position where it would be feasible. Now, before we get started, I want to clarify two things for you guys. Number one, I've had some recent comments on the review videos that I've made asking me how I'm able to afford my Corvette and said car, so whether it's the Hellcat I reviewed or the ZL1 or the GT350, and I want to point out to you guys, I thought I did a good job of doing this in those videos, but maybe I haven't. I don't own any of those cars that are labeled as review videos. The Z06 I reviewed or any of those cars, those belong to a dealership and they allow me to review them. Again, I had hoped that I was very clear about that, but I get a comment on multiple comments on almost every review video where somebody's asking me, how do you afford that and your Corvette? So I just want to make sure you guys understand, at no point am I claiming or ever have claimed to have owned any of those cars that I've reviewed. I do have a 2016 Corvette Stingray, and that is my only car at the moment, other than, my wife's car and such, but so there's that. Number two that I want to clarify, I never did own my C6 Corvette and my C7 Corvette at the same time. That's another question that I get asked very frequently. People think that, or I guess maybe I have set it up in a video where it basically sounded like I was stating that they're both my cars, and even though I did own both of them, they were never together. I owned the C6, had that for a little while, sold it, purchased the C7. So again, just want to clarify, don't own any of the cars that I've reviewed, and never did own both of the Corvettes at the same time, even though they were very close together, and I did own two different Corvettes. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the primary topic of the video today, guys. I do also want to clarify with you, I feel like it would be wrong not to, give thanks to God. I know that I've worked hard, but at the end of the day, none of that hard work or effort would mean anything without all the blessings that He's put in my life. So I definitely am not ashamed or scared to give credit to Him. I know that at the end of the day, that's why I am where I am, and I'm very thankful for that. So that's first and foremost. Now, in order for you guys to really understand exactly the full situation, how I was able to purchase those cars, as well as a home and things like that. It's not like I just funneled all my money into a car. I want to start a little bit farther back. When I was 16, I got my first job. Now, this was a very unique job for someone that age, because I was actually able to do a co-op program in high school where I was able to go to work for half a day, and I actually ended up selecting a job in the construction industry because a lot of my family owned construction companies, and I thought that was eventually the role I was going to be going into. So I was able to go to school for half a day and then co-op and go and work a job in construction for the other half of the day. This allowed me to get a lot of hours for that age, and they also paid very well because of how difficult the work was. It was very labor intensive and out in the sun, everything from digging ditches to being on a ladder, things of that nature. It was a pretty difficult job, but I really enjoyed it. Being that young, working with much older guys that, obviously had families and bills that they needed to pay, it taught me pretty quickly a very mature mindset about working and earning money. It also taught me how to manage money at a very young age. So I did that from 16 until 18. When I graduated high school and started college, I decided that it wasn't exactly the path that I wanted to go down permanently, even though I had enjoyed the skills that I learned in that field. I just decided it wasn't quite for me, and I do have that information or that knowledge to fall back on, but I decided to go a little bit different direction. I ended up working for a cell phone wireless carrier as a sales representative. Now, this job was really, really important as well because, during college, as many of you may know, it's difficult to earn a whole lot of money because you're pretty strapped for time. This job was really awesome because it actually allowed me to, work nights, allowed me to work weekends, things like that, and because it was heavily commission-based, without working a tremendous amount of hours and still being able to complete my schoolwork, I was able to earn, a good amount of money. I don't want to say it was some drastic or huge income, but, as many of you may guess, in a strictly or a heavily commissioned job, it's based a lot on what effort you put in and how your performance is. So because it was an industry that I enjoyed, I excelled at it and was able to make a lot more than I probably could have. in what you would consider to be a college part-time job or anything like that. That allowed me to save a lot of money, and it was actually very, very crucial to the lead up of me purchasing my first Corvette, as well as allowing me to save up and have money to purchase my house after I graduated college. Now, when I did graduate, what I ended up doing, I switched gears again, and I know what you guys are thinking, I switched career paths or jobs a lot, and that theme kind of continued, unfortunately, but it was for the better. After leaving the cell phone wireless provider as a sales rep, I ended up moving on to a bank and became a personal banker when I graduated college. That job was just as important as the others, and I know I keep saying that, but I can't stress enough how each one of these jobs, even though they were so different, they all taught me something very unique. They all fit into that time of my life in a very unique way that allowed me to have opportunities that I know I wouldn't have had in other positions. So each one was very important, and I'm so thankful looking back that I was able to get into each of those roles. So, after leaving the cell phone provider, moving on to the personal banker position with the bank, this job I didn't work for very long. And for those of you that know anything about that role, it's not necessarily a extremely high paid job. I'm not going to claim that I earned a lot of money there. There was a pretty high earnings potential because it was also a performance oriented pay scale. But the biggest takeaway from that job was I learned so much about personal finance. So I had already had 2 jobs in my past that allowed me to earn a little bit more than the average person my age, or at least what I thought was a little bit more compared to my friends and family members and things like that. But this job, on the other hand, even though it wasn't significantly higher pay or anything like that, again, it just taught me the ins and outs of personal finance. Everything from saving, investing, borrowing, it taught me a lot of the things that I needed to know. And I was able to apply that in my own personal financial life. And it really was able to change things for me. It changed my outlook on how I should be saving. It changed my outlook on, what I should be borrowing for, how quickly I should pay off those debts. So again, it was able to, in a sense, really get me on the right track. Again, I wasn't making any huge income, but it drastically changed my overall financial position just because I was able to, get proper training in the financial world, as well as speak to some of my peers there in that role where, there was a financial advisor that was sitting in the office next to me at the branch. There was, a lot of other bankers that had a lot more experience than me. So I was able to learn a lot in that role and definitely change the way that I thought about my finances. That was actually where I purchased my first Corvette, as well as where I purchased my home, during that time period. Now, my most recent and final job or career path on this list is somewhat more recent. I do foresee myself being here for a while, and it's kind of a jump, but again, it uses some of the information or my financial background. Now I'm in the healthcare industry, and basically my current role entails me meeting with patients, helping them understand the pricing and costs of their treatment, helping them navigate their insurance policies to determine what's covered and what's not, what their benefits entail, and then as well as helping them go over financing options, if need be. So now you guys hopefully understand why a lot of my videos are so financially oriented. I like to discuss costs. I like to go over breakdowns and things like that because for a very long time I've spent, my day job or my work week working with other people on finances. Everything from when I was a banker, I did auto loans. I helped with credit cards, helped savings accounts, checking accounts, discussed retirement, discussed mortgage and such. I wasn't licensed for investments and mortgaging, but I did, help get into that conversation with many clients. And now working with patients, obviously going over financial options, everything from, monthly payments to interest rates to terms, costs involved with their insurance policy and everything. I've just spent a lot of time going over finances with people, and that's why it's just second nature for me here on the channel. And I hope that you guys enjoy that content. I've gotten a lot of good feedback where people have said that it's sort of unique to talk about the costs involved with the car, and I hope to be able to in the future dig even deeper. Again, it's something that I'm passionate about, something that I've done for many years. And again, I want feedback from you guys on what you think of it thus far, what you'd like to see me add, especially in the reviews. Unfortunately, I might spend a day or two with a car when I'm reviewing it, so I don't have quite the same extensive information to share with you guys that I have shared on, say, my Corvette, when I've done a full breakdown of what I've paid for it. I've done a full breakdown of, what the cost of ownership is. I'm hoping to do an update with you guys soon on that. As of now, I've had the car for over 6 months. I was hoping to give you guys a brief update on that, so that video may be coming soon, as well as many others that I'm working on. But anyway, I just wanted to share with you guys what I do for a living. I know I didn't go over specific companies here, and that's more so just for privacy. As far as income goes, I'm sure you're wondering, what exactly do I make, or what did I make in those roles? And I will tell you that it did vary quite a bit, depending on your effort. A lot of these companies, again, they were performance based, so I don't want to tell you guys, if you go work for a cell phone provider or carrier, you can make X amount per year as a sales rep, because it's gonna vary. It's gonna definitely depend on how much effort you put in, how good your performance is, things like that. As well as same thing with the construction industry. If you were to go into construction, it's gonna vary widely depending on what trade you choose and how skilled you are in that, what licensing you have, and such. And same thing with the current role that I'm in now. I will tell you this, I don't want to share specifics and sound boastful or anything like that. And when you hear this number, it's not going to come across as boastful by any means. Some of you may even freak out and think, why does he drive a Corvette? But I have never in my life earned over $60,000 in a year. I'm not going to go into specifics of year by year what I've earned, but I will say it's never peaked over that amount. Now, everyone's situation is different. In my particular situation, my wife works as well, so we are a dual income family. We do not have children. We live in South Carolina, where the cost of living is somewhat low. So for me, that's allowed me to achieve every financial goal that I've had, and then some. So I'm very, very thankful and feel very blessed for that. But obviously, in some of your situations, that may be nowhere near getting you close to being able to purchase a Corvette or your dream car, because of your life circumstances. So I do want to clarify that whatever field you're thinking about going into, whatever amount you feel you need to make, it's widely based on your circumstances. So make sure you're considering all factors before you decide, I need to make this much money, I need to go into this field in order to do that. The other takeaway that I want you guys to hopefully get from this video is, I've switched, you could argue, into 4 drastically different fields. Everything from construction, wireless, banking, to healthcare. And even in changing that many times over the last 9, almost 10 years, I feel that I've been able to really maximize on each of those. And overall, I feel very blessed and successful. Again, I contribute any achievements to God. I know that no matter how small or big, He was able to help me with those accomplishments. But I want you guys to kind of remember, try different things, especially if you're in your early teens, late teens, or even early 20s watching this video. Don't get hung up thinking that you need to do one specific job, or you need to get into this specific industry in order to be successful or earn what you want to earn, because you can accomplish pretty much anything you want in any field. There's going to be room for growth in a lot of different industries. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's a lot of lucrative trades and industries out there. So don't get hung up on one specific job. Be open-minded to try new things. Always be learning new things, developing new skills, and just to better yourself overall. Obviously, if you went to school for a long time to do one specific trade, you may want to stick to that and focus on that. But outside of that, if you have a very general degree, like in business or things like that, you can pretty much apply that into a lot of different fields and make a great living, accomplish your goals, and not have to necessarily kill yourself or worry yourself to death in order to do so. But anyway, guys, I don't want to go on with too long of a rant. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that this answers your questions. Again, many of you have asked me in the comments what I do for a living. Well, there it is, guys. That tells you from beginning to now. I believe I forgot to mention thus far in the video, but I am 25 years old at the time. I think that's another reason why so many people have asked this question, is they don't understand how a 25-year-old can have had already 2 Corvettes as well as a home. But hopefully this explains it and it makes sense for you guys. Real quick, I wanted to also mention that I did open a P.O. box for the channel. Super excited that we have hit over 8,000 subscribers, so I can't thank you guys enough for your support. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to reach 10,000 by Christmas. It's a huge goal of mine. I hope you guys all had a fantastic Thanksgiving. This is the day after, obviously, when at the time of this upload. But again, thanks guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Definitely give me some feedback down below, and hope you have a great day, guys. See you next time.